In the latest chapter of One Piece, it was revealed that Gloriosa was once a member of the Rocks Pirates. Yes, Gloriosa, the former Empress of Amazon Lily, used to be a pirate just like the other empresses, Shaki and Boa. Honestly, this was a bit of a shocker for me because even I forgot that Gloriosa had such an adventurous backstory. But this did remind me of a theory that I stumbled upon over a year ago over on Reddit by a user named JMac145 that claimed that Gloriosa is the mother of Yamato. I know that theory sounds a little bit crazy, but with the latest reveal, I feel like it's about time we revisit it and just talk about the possibility. So hopefully, you guys enjoy this TED Talk. On Amazon Lily, strength is beauty. This is the one rhetoric that has been established about the island of women. The stronger you are, the more beautiful you are. And while Kaido wasn't the strongest creature in the world 38 years ago, he was still considered a brute among men. A man that any woman from Amazon Lily would easily fall for. Falling in love as an Amazon Lily inhabitant is just that easy. I mean, take Luffy into consideration. Shortly after Luffy met Boa, and he displayed his strength, strong will, and kindness, Boa contracted a disease. She was suffering from love sickness, a sickness that Gloriosa introduced us to, a sickness that Gloriosa also admitted to having in the past, which is the reason why she left Amazon Lily oh so long ago. Which just so happens to bring us to our first point. If you've been around One Piece for quite some time, you might know that Oda is a fun guy. He loves wordplay, number play, foreshadowing, and all that good stuff. Well, it just so happens that love sickness was introduced in chapter 522, and then exactly 400 chapters later, chapter 922, the chapter's titled after Kaido, the Supreme Commander of the Animal Kingdom Pirates. Another interesting point that just so happens to tie Kaido in would be Ruskaina, the island that Luffy trained at during the 2-year time skip. Ruskaina is an island located nearby Amazon Lily that boasts not only one of the harshest climates in the world, but also hundreds of animals that Rayleigh himself said are stronger than pre-time skip Luffy. And then there's Kaido, who just so happens to have the nickname Kaido, the King of Beasts. That is a really flimsy tie-in, I know that. But what if I told you that Ruskaina was first introduced to us in chapter 597. If you flip the first and last numbers, you get chapter 795, which just so happens to be the chapter in which Kaido is introduced. And now, for the mythological real-world tie-in between Gloriosa and Kaido, we have the legend of Enoshima. There are many variations of this story, but the one that rings closest to this theory has to do with an evil dragon that terrorizes many villages and causes natural disasters wherever they went, until they met the goddess Benzaiten, who managed to quell the dragon's rage, and he fell in love with her. The dragon in this story is supposed to represent Kaido, and Benzaiten is supposed to represent Gloriosa. At first glance, it may seem that we're just trying to connect pieces that don't fit, but hear me out. The connections between Benzaiten and Gloriosa actually run somewhat deep. Benzaiten actually originates from Indian culture. The name Gloriosa originates from the flower Gloriosa superba, which just so happens to be the state flower of Tamil Nadu in India. Gloriosa superba also translates to flame lily, and lilies quite often represent death, which just so happens to fall in line with Kaido and how, in his introduction, he was searching for a place to die. Death by falling from a sky island. In a funny coincidence, during Gloriosa's first scene with Boa Hancock, Boa actually throws her off the top building of Amazon Lily, which of course Gloriosa ends up surviving, thankfully. In some myths, Benzaiten is also known as the goddess of water, and when Gloriosa was introduced in chapter 514, Luffy was being submerged in water. Benzaiten was known to live on an island inhabited by only women, and that is exactly where Gloriosa lives. One pushback I see about the theory of Kaido and Gloriosa getting together is that they could potentially have a huge age gap. But when you take into consideration that Boa and Luffy also have somewhat of an age gap, it kind of falls in line. For now, that's all I have to say about Kaido and Gloriosa, because now we have to move to the meat of the theory. Gloriosa, and Yamato, because they do have a couple of connections here and there. First up would be the fact that both Yamato and Gloriosa have knowledge about Vivre cards. Back on Amazon Lily, when Luffy pulled out Ace's Vivre card, he didn't know what the burning piece of paper meant until Gloriosa informed him about Ace's upcoming death. And then we skip over to Wano and we see that Yamato also has knowledge about Vivre cards and how to make them, since she is the one who made Ace's Vivre card. With how much Kaido mistreated Yamato, there's definitely no way he taught her about this new world technology. Paper. It would make more sense if she learned it from someone else who had knowledge about Vivre cards, like Gloriosa. While knowing how Vivre cards work isn't exactly that special in the new world, it is definitely something that not a lot of characters know how to make, since even we, the audience, don't know how to combine paper with fingernail clippings to create it. Second up, going back to the mythology of Benzaiten is often seen with a white snake. And what do you know? Yamato, when attacking alongside Luffy's Gear 4th Snake Man, uses a technique called White Serpent. Thirdly, Yamato was born a woman, and the ladies of Amazon Lily are known for birthing only women. Yamato, just like the ladies on Amazon Lily, are isolated in their respective countries and are oblivious to the outside world. And this is a little bit of a cheap shot, but Yamato and Gloriosa both have white hair. Another thing that could potentially tie Yamato into Amazon Lily is that Yamato is one of the only other female characters in the series that wears golden earrings alongside Boa Hancock, the current Amazon Lily Empress. In The Road to Laugh Tale Volume 3, one of Oda's early concepts for Yamato's fighting style was actually that of Boa Hancock's, with Yamato specializing in martial arts. Oda, either intentionally or coincidentally, has built up some interesting ties between Gloriosa, Yamato, and Kaido. I mean, hey, Gloriosa's backstory never needed to be brought into the story. When she talked about it back on Amazon Lily, most people brushed it to the side. But Oda decided to bring her back into relevancy by adding her to the Rocks pirate crew out of all places. After the fall of Rocks pirates on God Valley, the crew was obviously disbanded, leaving all the members without a home. What's interesting though is that we know that Gloriosa didn't go back to Amazon Lily right away, since she goes on to find Boa Hancock and sisters years later before her final return to Amazon Lily. And then there's Kaido. Kaido just so happened to also have quite a gap in his pirating history after God Valley. During Kaido's flashback, we do see that he gets captured here and there by Marines and eventually ends up being experimented on over at Punk Hazard. But after that, where did he go and what was he doing? Higurashi Kurozumi contacted Kaido 28 years prior to the story and told him about Wano's resources. Kaido didn't arrive in Wano until 8 years later. Where was he and what was he doing during those years? Because Yamato is 28 years old, so that means that Yamato did not set foot in Wano until they were 8 years old. If we really wanted to run with this theory, then we could say that Gloriosa and Kaido were having some sort of custodial dispute. Whether or not this theory comes true, one thing remains certain, and that is the fact that Gloriosa all of a sudden has just became a really important character. Gloriosa is a key witness to lost history that not even Odin had written in his logbook, history that I bet Yamato and of course the Straw Hats would love to learn about. I feel like she could be a key character in the future when it comes to uncovering more information about what happened at God Valley. The best part is that Gloriosa doesn't even have to be the one that sets sail, travels, and tells us about it. We could just get the secondhand story from Boa Hancock, just like how Bonnie is giving us this portion of God Valley from Kuma's perspective. With the way Oda has been showing us God Valley thus far, I wouldn't be surprised if we eventually get the full picture by putting a bunch of different characters' perspectives together. First we had Kuma, then we could have Gloriosa, and then maybe even Garps. Last we saw Boa, she was wondering where to go now that Amazon Lily is no longer safe. And what do you know? She just so happens to want to go see Luffy. Just imagine how a potential Boa Hancock and Yamato scene would play out. If this relationship between Gloriosa, Kaido, and Yamato is later confirmed, what does this mean for the future of the story? Probably nothing, mainly because One Piece isn't all about the romance. Oda has stated multiple times that he tries to limit the number of romantic interactions between characters, so even if Kaido and Gloriosa were a couple, we probably won't ever see it outright. And that is the beauty of this theory. Whether it is true or not, it poses no real harm to the story's past or future. But it would be a really cool tie-in with existing characters and a great expansion of lore. So what do you guys think about this possibility? Can you see this being later confirmed in the series, or do you think Gloriosa has the hots for some other pirate on the sea? Because I have heard some interesting theories about Gloriosa and Rocks D Xebec. All I gotta say though, is that if Whitebeard, the world's strongest man, and Stussy, the queen of the Pleasure District, got together and had a crazy science child thing going on, then maybe Kaido, the world's strongest creature, and Gloriosa, the queen of Amazon Lily, can have a child as well. I would love to hear what you guys have to say about this theory down below. And again, shoutouts to the thread where I got the inspiration from, as well as key details. That will be linked down below as well. And with that being said, my name is Sai, and I'm signing out.